Yo, what's good guys, welcome back. Today I want to talk about how I farmed up 6 to 700 divines in the first week of the actual league. Now, there was a lot of interesting things that has happened in the past week, so I want to talk about it, yeah? So, let's talk about day 1. Day 1, I started with the pure grenade Witchhunter that I was actually theorizing and league start testing. The build worked out perfectly, right? So it did what I wanted it to do, and that is actually clear T15 maps with like shit gear, with like SSF gear, so I can actually progress my atlas and things of that nature. But while I was doing maps, I actually found out that I actually wanted to try out Redemption, the new grenade launcher, yeah? However, after getting like 3 to 4 divines at that point, when I bought it, I realized that I don't really like it. Yeah, it's too slow. You need an extra setup for that. Yeah, you need to solve your mana and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'm not using this. But when I sold it, right, when I checked the market again for the price, it went up, and I started watching the market. And interestingly enough, redemptions were in like a really high demand. It was a new unique. Everyone wanted to try it out. It makes sense. Yeah. However, the price was just so volatile that I sold my redemption that I bought for like 3 divines to 5 divines. So I was thinking that, okay, let me check the market. So I was observing the market for like 30 minutes. I was live searching redemptions, and it turned out that the price settled around 6 to 7 divs. 6 to 7 divines was the actual price that people actually bought redemptions for if you put it on the market in like 15 minutes, right? But many people actually wanted to set the redemption faster, yeah? For like 5 divines or 4 divines or whatever. So what I did was actually buying all the redemptions that were 5 or below, because I bought some for 4 and some for 5. And I was listing them for like 6 to 7 divines. And like I sold every single one of them with like 1 to 2 divine profit, and I was doing this quite a lot in the first day. So if I check my sell history here, like look at this. Like I started doing this, and I'm not even sure if it shows everything that I sold, but like all of these redemption sales, like 7, 8, 6 divines, whatever, yeah. All of these. So there is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. There is 7 here that is showing, but it was more than that. So I flipped like 10 to 15 redemptions, right? For like 2 divine profit each. And that was actually really fun. That allowed me to actually go into the source reward and deviation stacking Witchhunter that I wanted to do originally. Now, this actually requires you to have Iris, and I was doing the surround tech with the constructed command. So that was basically how I actually was able to push day 2 really hard with like somewhat decent survivability and a really good damage, because it allowed me to actually buy a new weapon that was like 2 to 3 times X my old one in terms of damage. And after like doing the new quest pinnacle boss or whatever, I started experimenting with fracturing orbs and essences. Now essences were going for quite a lot, because even the resist ones are in so high demand day 1 and 2 that you can make a really good money from that, yeah. And it was actually a really good setup for my build, because grenades, you have a lot of damage that you can actually stack up before like opening an essence. And so I did that. The new atlas allowed us to actually have a free reroll here. So whenever you corrupt an essence, they will 100% change their type, yeah? So that allowed me to actually get a lot of perfect essences of battle and a lot of resist essences. So rest of the day I was actually farming that, and I started experimenting with the cleanse maps as well, because you again have a point on your atlas tree that allows you to have a chance to top a fracturing orb whenever you kill a cleanse mob. So I basically ran around and I did corrupted nexuses, so every other map that was surrounding it became cleansed. And I got a lot of fracturing orbs and a lot of expensive essences that way. So then I had the actual currency around like 50-ish divines or 60-ish divines that I could get some better gear. Now, day 3, I started testing abysses and how can I actually juice it, like the Abyssal Echo and the Omen of Light tech, basically, with cleanse maps. Because at this point, we are still talking about like 2 divines for each Fracturing Orb, and that was quite a lot, yeah? I was planning to buy... I was planning to buy a Headhunter on like day 2 to 3, but that did not happen, obviously, because I couldn't keep up with the actual inflation. Basically, the Essence and the Fracturing Orb strat was good, but not the best. And my build was also not necessarily the best for this kind of like pushing or juicing, yeah? So what I did is that I invested 100 divines into my gear and I started testing abysses with the proper setup. Yeah, I was started testing tablets. I was starting testing the new species with the cleanse maps because, as I said, at this point, fracturing orbs are still worth quite a lot. And on like day 4, it was pretty much settled. So what I did is I made a video about this, how I was using my abysses. And on like day 4, I started doing the proper setup for the abysses. Like at this point, like I have 200 to 300 divines invested into my gear, but not necessarily a lot of raw currency. So day 4, I was like, okay, I have my currency making strat settled in. Let's start blasting, yeah? So blasting I did, I was going around and doing the Jade Islands for the Rakiatas. And whenever I was basically traveling to a new node, I was doing the abysses. Now, these abysses themselves is like 15 dips an hour, yeah? So I was not losing any money, and I was basically pulling a lever on the slot machine to have a chance for a really expensive drop, yeah? And expensive drop I got after like 30 Jade Islands, I got the Rakiatas. And yeah, that was that. At that point, I had like 350 divines, like raw divines. And I dropped the Rakiatas, like I got my Mageblood. So now we are Mageblood gaming. I wanna get a better one with like Quicksilver instead of the Ruby. But that's like, I need to farm some more, but that's fine. Like, no harm in that. Besides this, besides the mage build, we still have, this is my day 1 Iris. I just divined it because I switched to Galvanic Shards and Stormblast bots with Trinity and stuff like that. So that's the current setup. Like, interestingly enough, like on day 5 or 6, I wasn't even like playing whatsoever, yeah. Because, yeah, as I said, I have a job, like I was stressed out from my job or stuff like that. So like I really didn't have time to play. So like I skipped one full day, like didn't even log in for like 24 hours. So that's basically the story of how I farmed up like 600 divines, even though I'm not necessarily no life in the game. Yeah. One tip here is that if you wanna get your mage blood or stuff like that, or if you wanna go for like a really expensive one, do a strat that is catered to your build, be it whatever, yeah, be it the abyss or breach or anything like that, or like delirium or bosses if you have a really strong single target damage to bosses, and stick with it, yeah. Don't change your strat, don't change anything. You just go with the flow, yeah. Whenever I started doing the abyss strat, I was so bad at pulling the mobs out of the shroud. I didn't know the tech. I didn't know where to actually stand. And now I can do it like twice as fast. And this allowed me to actually go like 12 maps in 1 hour instead of like 6 or 7 that I started with, yeah. And that like skyrocketed my actual income. So stick with the strat that you know is getting you or giving you good results, and have fun with it, yeah. I want to get some more currency to finish up my Galvanic Shards build with the Witchhunter and the sorcery bar stacking and stuff like that. So I will farm some more, and then it's free for all. Yeah, I don't need to stress. I have my Mageblood. Like, I know since I bought it, I bought it yesterday. It went up like 40 divines in price. Yeah, so it will keep on appreciate, and now I don't really have to stress anymore about anything basically. Yeah, so I can just test out all the strategies, test out what's good, what's not good, where are the areas of improvement during this patch and stuff like that. So now it's GG's at this point. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you guys are on the grind or what, and I see you in the next one.